Mate, listen up, because Celtic have just dropped a triple shocker that you need to hear. Johnny Kenny firing on all cylinders, Martin O'Neill calling the AGM one of the saddest mornings he's ever seen, and the biggest bomb of the lot, Peter Lawwell, sparking a fresh backlash after his annual review, landed right when the whole club feels like it's shaking. I've got these 3 stories lined up for you, so stay with me right until the end. We have 6 news a day to keep you updated with the mighty Celtic. Hit that subscribe button and be part of it. Let me paint this for you, because Johnny Kenny walked back into Lennox Town with the swagger of a lad who knows he's just lived through something proper massive. You could see it in his face, that mix of pride and fire, the kind you only get when you've scored with the last kick of the ball for your country and suddenly the whole world feels about 2 sizes too small for you. And you, standing there as a Celtic fan, you know exactly what that does to a striker. It's like handing him a lightning bolt and telling him to go play. Johnny's talking about those Ireland games like he's still catching his breath, written off before a ball was kicked, the nation hanging by a thread, and then boom, he lashes one in at the death. That's the stuff you dream of as a kid, kicking a ball around a wet bit of grass in the dark, pretending to be the hero, and he's living it. No wonder he's buzzing, and you love to see it, don't you? Especially because he's bringing that same electricity right back into paradise. But here's the bit I loved most. He's not letting himself float off into the clouds. None of that Sevco-style self-congratulation where they win one throw-in and suddenly act like the Champions League is trembling in fear. No, Johnny's grounded. He's telling you straight, the goals against Falkirk, Rangers and Kilmarnock are done. The Ireland magic is done. What matters now is St Mirren in Paisley under the lights, where the wind cuts you in half and you've got 3 points to steal before the schedule chews you up again. And he's right, mate. The next few months are going to hit like a Glasgow storm, rolling through Sucky Hall Street, matches every 3 days, bodies creaking, minds spinning, and Calmac leading the whole thing like the heartbeat of the city. Kenny knows he doesn't have the luxury to sit back and admire his own highlights. You score, you move on. You miss, you move on. That's Celtic. That's survival. And you can tell he's buzzing to keep working under Martin O'Neill as well. There was all that chatter over the break, whispers, changes, rumours flying about like seagulls over the Clyde. But he's delighted the big man and Sean are still steering the ship. The results have been good, the mood's been sharp, and there's a real sense that something's building, something you've been feeling in your chest these past few weeks. So let me hit you with the question burning a hole in my mind. If Kenny keeps this form going, scoring for club and country, do you think he should become the first choice striker, even if it means a bigger name player gets benched? Hit that subscribe button. Lads, let's G it. Laldi till we hit 1500. Mad Celtic daffs. Mate, let me tell you, this morning at Paradise felt heavier than a winter cloud hanging over Sucky Hall Street. You could feel it the second Martin O'Neill walked into that AGM, and the man got the kind of applause that makes your spine tingle, the kind that reminds you why Celtic folk hold certain names sacred. But the second his cheers faded, the rest of the room turned into a storm without warning, and you, sitting there watching the clips or hearing the chatter, you probably felt that same knot in your gut. It wasn't just noise, it was something deeper. Frustration that's been simmering for months, finally boiling over. 5 minutes in, not even long enough to sip a coffee. Chance of sack the board bouncing off the walls, the type of sound that hits you right in the ribs, because it's not anger for the sake of anger. It's the cry of someone who loves this club and feels like the people at the top have forgotten what love even looks like. And you could see it in O'Neill's face, mate. The man's been around the block, seen triumphs, disasters, and everything in between. But he stood there calling it one of the saddest mornings he's ever seen at Celtic. Imagine that. A legend saying something like that aloud. It cuts you. He even brought up Jock Stein. And you don't drop that name lightly. When he says Stein preached unity, you know exactly what he means. Celtic only works when everyone pulls the same way. When the heartbeat in the stands matches the heartbeat on the pitch. When the folk in the boardroom remember that they're caretakers, not kings. And right now, that unity feels like a cracked badge held together with tape. But here's the thing, and this is where you saw that small glimmer of hope. O'Neill thinks it can be fixed. He hinted ever so slightly that the new manager might not be far off. You could feel the room lean in a bit. No names, no confirmations, but the way he spoke, the way he carefully threaded his words, it felt like someone who knows the wheels are turning. And mate, after the chaos of the summer, the transfer window shambles, the Champions League embarrassment, you're desperate for a sign that someone up there has a plan better than shrugging and hoping for the best. And he's right. Apologies, these only work for so long before they sound like empty envelopes. You've heard mistake after mistake acknowledged, but what you want, what you deserve, is correction, action, a proper path. And O'Neill says it plainly. Unity must return because a fractured Celtic cannot win, and he's not wrong. Look across the city at them, drowning in their own delusions, choking on excuses every time a stiff breeze knocks them over. That's what happens when a club has no unity. That's what happens when everyone pulls in different directions, and you know Celtic cannot, must not ever fall into that trap. O'Neill even admitted he's surprised he's still in the hot seat. Thought something would have been sorted during the international break. That alone tells you how close things might be behind the scenes. If he's feeling movement, then movement must be there. So let me ask you something that'll stir you the way this whole morning stirred me. If the board cannot reunite this club quickly, if they fail to restore that unity Stein built, do you think it's time for them to step aside before they do more damage than any bad manager ever could? Hit that subscribe button. Lads, let's G it. Loldy, till we hit 1,500 mad Celtic daffs. Let me tell you, when Peter Lawwell's annual review dropped right after that AGM went off the rails, it felt like pouring a tin of petrol on a fire that was already roaring high enough to melt the seats in paradise. You could almost hear the groan ripple through every Celtic heart across Glasgow. You're sitting there thinking, after chants, walkouts, the whole AGM collapsing in under 5 minutes, this is what they choose to release? Another polished speech about trophies from years gone by, as if that's going to calm anyone down when the present feels like a storm rolling down Sucky Hall Street sideways. And you know exactly why it stings. It's not that Lawwell's wrong about the past. You've lived those memories yourself, the trebles, the Europe nights, the days when Celtic didn't just walk into a season, they marched in like a force of nature. But right now, talking about old triumphs when the club's been stumbling through shambolic windows, losing managers, and tripping over its own decisions, it lands wrong. It's like showing you photos of sunny holidays while you're standing in the rain, waiting for a bus that never comes. The timing made it even worse. Releasing his comments hours after the AGM dissolved into utter chaos, mate, it felt like the boardroom equivalent of Sevco pretending everything's fine after getting pumped and then blaming the pitch, the ref, the moon, and whatever else they can invent. What you wanted after that AGM was clarity, honesty, something that actually addressed the mess in front of us. Instead, you got history lessons and generalities. Yes, he said, mistakes were made, finally, but where's the bit you actually care about? Where's the plan? Where's the vision that matches the size of this club and the size of your expectations? Lawwell spoke about being stewards of Celtic, and that line stuck with me, because being a steward means protecting the spirit of the club, the unity Jock Stein lived by. And right now, mate, you feel the opposite. You feel that crack widening, not because of the trophies you've won in the past, but because of the missteps of the last 18 months. Recruitment that looked like guesswork, a managerial mess, a Champions League campaign thrown away before it even began. You've been patient, you've swallowed apology after apology, but at some point, you want to see the club actually learn, not just talk about learning. A new manager's coming, like you can smell it in the air, and maybe that will steady the ship. Maybe it'll be the spark that brings the club back together again. But until the board match their words with action, until they stop leaning on yesterday and start building tomorrow, the tension's going to linger like fog over the Clyde. So here's what I need to ask you straight, and don't dodge it. After this AGM fiasco and at another round of vague promises, do you still trust Lawwell to lead Celtic forward? Or has his time steering this club already run its course? Hit that subscribe button, lads. Let's see it loudly till we hit 1,500. Mad Celtic daffs.